wait, shit.
Couch Guys Sports Podcast, episode number 162. Nick Quaglia, Jared Scali. We've got a weekly dump this week. We've actually got some sports news this week. A little bit of the same shit that we've been dealing with really over the past few weeks with baseball and with football. Everything's COVID related still. We're still dealing with that crap. But the weekly dump has... Things are COVID related.
There's some news though, but there's some news.
There's some news that we have to get to. So, I mean, first, we got anything that happened this week that we want to talk about at all? Do we want to pump up the YouTube channel a little bit? Because, boy, we've got some shows coming.
We do have some shows coming. You know when they're coming more than I do. You've not given me a date.
I'm on because I don't really have a date.
That's true.
I don't have a date yet about when this show is exactly coming, but we've got one show that is on the docket that I'm very excited for, that I think will draw a lot of people to the YouTube channel. We want to spice up this YouTube channel because we really haven't used it much other than our show, and that's going to be a major push that we're going to be doing over the next couple of months.
And it's been good for our show, so why not use it? It's been good for our show.
It has been good for our show. We need to drive more attention to it. We need to drive more traffic to it, and this show is going to be... It's going to be great. It's going to be an awesome show. I've got no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
So, weekly dump?
Weekly dump.
Djokovic gave the middle fingers to coronavirus. Novak Djokovic, one of the best tennis players of our generation, decided that, hey, fuck coronavirus. Here is going to be a 2-week tennis tournament where he invites players from all around the world to come participate. You would think, hey, you know what? We're in the middle of the worst pandemic since 1917, since the Spanish flu. We should probably have some protocol here. Not at this tournament, because Djokovic, I don't think he believes in coronavirus. So there are no protocols in place. All the matches, they have fans. He's out there partying. He's out there at nightclubs after. He's playing pickup basketball. Well, somebody tested positive. One of those players tested positive. Then they tested a bunch of other players. At first, Djokovic was like, no, I'm not going to get tested. I'm going to go home. Goes home because he's not feeling any symptoms, because I don't think Djokovic has learned anything about this. You don't have to have symptoms to have coronavirus.
No.
So he goes home, gets tested. He and his wife both have coronavirus.
Dun, dun, dun.
And as Hubs from Barstool Sports put this, I'm going to take this from him. Right out of his title of his blog on Barstool Sports. The asshole of the week. What a moron.
This is the same guy who, because the U.S. Open was talking about still happening and all this stuff, but like, excuse me, the precautions were like, you can't stay at the fancy downtown hotels in Manhattan. You're going to stay at like a Hilton Inn or something. And just Djokovic is the guy who said, fuck that. Like, if I can't come to the States and party during the U.S. Open and stay in the middle of Manhattan, then I ain't coming, and I think it's moronic. Same guy. Now decides to throw a party and then goes out and be like, yeah, I'm not going to get corona, whatever. Let's just party it up. Let's have a good time. Him and his wife, coronavirus. Boom.
So stupid.
And it seems like, too, like this happens every time someone outspoken and says, yeah, coronavirus isn't real. It's whatever. They end up getting it. They're the ones that get it.
You have to be dumb at this point to think that coronavirus is nothing. You really have to be dumb.
Yeah.
Trevor Bauer and Aubrey Huff, two very outspoken MLB players, or Aubrey Huff, former MLB player, on Twitter. Everybody hates Aubrey Huff for the most part. Mm-hmm. Twitter hates Aubrey Huff. That guy sucks. Well, Trevor Bauer, we said it last week. We've become big-time Trevor Bauer fans.
Yep.
They went at it on Monday night on Twitter, and it was awesome. They went back and forth, and Trevor Bauer just basically dismantled Aubrey Huff using his brain, because Aubrey Huff is just doing his typical... the worst people in an argument are the ones who who still, it's 2020. You know how dumb you look when you're like, oh, I'm a man. He literally told Trevor Bauer on Twitter that he's got low T. Good one, dude. That makes you look so dumb when you use an insult like that. You've got low T. Fucking congrats, Aubrey Huff.
Great.
Such a lame. He's the worst.
Aubrey Huff's awful.
Yeah, and Bauer just used his brain and just dismantled him. And then, speaking of brains, Donald Trump says that they are going to be slowing down COVID testing because more COVID testing means more positive results. I mean, what could you say about that?
Guys, November 3rd, 2020. That's a very important date. If you don't know it, it's when we vote. Please vote. He can't run our country for 4 more years. November 3rd, 2020.
What an unbelievable statement.
Yeah, if we stop testing, we're going to stop testing, because if the more tests, it means we're going to see more COVID spikes. So we can open up if we don't test. Okay.
We have to know. To know.
Cool. Yeah, COVID will just go away overnight if we don't test. Well, yeah, because there won't be any positive tests because you're not testing. Duh. Of course, that's a smart idea, right? Yeah.
This is the worst year in history.
The 5 people that were at that Trump rally last week where those pictures came out, can you please stop? Stop faking.
Can we talk about that?
Care. Can you stop?
How TikTok and Twitter trolled Donald Trump? Do you know about that?
No. But
so there was a big trend going on social media with Gen Z, and a lot of these people, I think it started off in TikTok, but I saw it on Twitter too. These were free tickets, so you could go online and sign up for a ticket for free. People were going on his website and buying tickets and not going. So all of those seats looked like they were sold, but they weren't.
That's great.
People were buying tickets so people wouldn't be able to go to those seats.
I love that. That's great. When they're free, right? Like, whatever. I'll take a ticket and not go.
It's unbelievable. Our president got trolled by a bunch of kids on TikTok. That was the weekly dump. Guys, the reopening is right around the corner. And there's a chance that no one has seen your balls in a few months. Don't ruin your first post-quarantine date with a ball fro. That's gross. Would you guys show up to the first day of school without a haircut? No, you don't.
No, man. Animals. Gotta look clean. If you do, something coming.
Manscaped is here to provide you the best tools for the grooming experience. Guys, with this, and we talked about the Lawnmower 3.0 a bunch of times now. The Lawnmower 3.0, the coolest thing about it, other than the LED light where you can actually see what's going on, because we don't have, I think we talked about this last week, we don't have the fancy lights in the shower.
No, need the LED.
The LED light, it shows you everything going on down there. But the coolest thing about the Lawnmower 3.0 is the stand, and it makes you shave your balls. It makes me do it. It makes me do it so much more often because it's staring me in the face when I go in. And if I go in the bathroom and I know I'm about to go in the shower and I know I should be doing it, I swear to God I can hear this thing talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
Shave your nuts. That's what it's saying to me. And I'm like, all right, fine. Boom, take it off, go in the shower. Don't have to worry about the water destroying it because it's water resistant. Guys, come on. You have to get the Lawnmower 3.0. The Lawnmower 3.0 is the best hygiene tool for the modern man. Because of their ceramic, blade, and skin-safe technology, your snags will be reduced while preparing yourself for post-quarantine life. Manscaped is forever changing the grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0 essential kits. The Perfect Package 3.0 comes with the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0, water-resistant cordless body hair trimmer, performance boxer briefs, which I use to work out, and they are phenomenal for big, thick-thighed guys like me, and a travel bag for you to use when you're done quarantining. The Perfect Package 3.0 comes with the Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver. The Crop Preserver is anti-chafing ball deodorant, which ensures that your afternoon stroll doesn't end with your ball sticking to your leg, which is a big-ass problem. The Crop Reviver is a spray-on toner for your balls. It's made with soothing aloe, witch hazel extracts that will give your balls a boost. Subscribers to the Peak Hygiene Plan get a new replacement blade, refill for your lawnmower trimmer delivered to your door every 3 months, making sure that your trimmer stays fresh and clean. The light is at the end of the tunnels, fellas. Treat yourself, making it through quarantine with the Lawnmower 3.0. Get 20% off free shipping with the code CouchGuy20 at manscaped.com.
Do it.
Again, that is manscaped.com. Again, 20% off with the free shipping with the code CouchGuy20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. CouchGuy20. Your first date post-quarantine is going to thank you, and then they're going to thank Manscaped. All right, so Manscaped, shout out. The best company in the world. The MLB will be implementing a season. On Monday, the league once again, or the Players Association, the union, voted down the owner's proposal for a 60-game season, which included expanded playoffs, all that. They said no, so now the commissioner will be implementing a 2020 season. We talked about that a little last week. At first, I didn't think that was going to work because I thought the players were going to be like, fuck you guys. We're not just going to play just because you guys are implementing a season. Well, according to Jeff Passan, and again, I'm not going to just accept this. I'm not just going to say, okay, well, this is going to happen. But Jeff Passan says that the players do intend on voting yes for the safety protocol ratification that's going to be put into place, and that they will be reporting by July 1st. Season's going to start July 24th. But do you think that there's going to be any issues with this?
Well, yeah, because the players didn't really want this. Like, the players didn't get this. There's no agreement. So what goes out the window? A couple things, right? Like the universal DH that people were talking about only happens this year now and goes out the window for the next year and the year after. There's probably more forward signing of a lockout coming next year. So who knows if next year even happens. But for this year, so a lot of I think you're going to see some players sit out because they don't want to play the number of games, which goes right against all the crap they were saying on Twitter of like, tell us when and where, right? But I still put this fully on the owners and MLB, not the players, because the union's been trying to do what's fair for them, and owners just don't care at this point, and they think that because they're not going to get us coming into the stands in every game, they're going to lose so much money they can't afford to pay the players. We've had this conversation. They should have a separate line item for that, but there's going to be an issue with this because there's going to be players who go in there with the wrong attitude because they feel like now they didn't get what they want, and they're going to go in there and be all sulky or do something to not follow the protocols, and then you're going to have baseball shut down in a few months because of something like that. It's coming. I don't think baseball gets the full season in, but as long as something starts, the Red Sox are in good shape, so I don't care.
As long as there's a couple of games that are played, yeah. I mean, this is the best case scenario for the Red Sox specifically. This is a Boston sports podcast, so really good. Relating it back to the Red Sox, this is the best case scenario because the Red Sox, as long as they play, and by the way, I screwed up the CBA. The CBA is up after 2021, so next year should happen. I thought it was before the 2021 season. It's actually after the 2021 season, so that's my fault. But best case scenario here for the Red Sox is that they play at least a couple of games because that will reset their regular season games, not spring training because we've already done spring training games, but that will reset their luxury tax penalties, which has been the whole thing. I mean, like going back to regular times, I guess, put that in quotes, the Red Sox have been focusing on trying to figure something out where they can spend big, I hope, next offseason because they have to reset those luxury tax penalties because they've been hitting the maximum over the past 2 seasons, I think, or at least last season. So they need to play a couple of games here. Yeah,
so they basically, the way it works is so like if they play this year counts, so everything the luxury tax goes away because the whole issue with them was like they didn't want to spend over that tax to get even more money spent when they need to. So if they can at least get a couple games, then the season counts, which means the tax number, the luxury cap, like the cap numbers count for this year, which means that next year everything goes to what it would have been next year anyway. And then it's weird because it's weird because we've talked about this, right? Like those numbers count and the team numbers count, but like players' contracts don't. So if we don't play this year, the Red Sox are still screwed for next year money wise, but Mookie Betts is still a free agent. So like
that was like the worst part.
Yeah. But then again, Mookie's probably screwed because of all this, so he ain't getting paid this year.
That's a major thing that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. A lot of these big, like Mookie Betts next offseason was supposed to be one of the biggest free agents that we've seen ever. Like he was supposed to get a massive, massive deal, but he's not going to get that massive deal anymore because of everything. But I wouldn't be shocked if he signs like a 1-year contract, 2-year contract to reset and hopefully get the economy back, and then he can get that major deal. But if he just goes on and signs that huge contract that he was expecting next season, it's not going to be nearly as big as what we thought. Not going to be nearly as big at all. Now, the MLBPA rejected the MLB's proposal yesterday. So Monday, we record this Tuesday, June 23rd. And in that offer, so you already mentioned the universal DH. It offered players significant benefits, including the universal DH for 2 years, which honestly, not having the universal DH saves the Red Sox from probably losing JD Martinez.
Yep.
Because JD, if there was a universal DH for the next 2 seasons, then JD would have had 30 teams vying for him because he's a great DH. He's a perfect DH.
I agree.
Guaranteed.
And all those NL teams are now like, crap, we need someone who can just hit. Like, we're
Yeah.
scrambling now because they don't want to take someone who's really good in the field and just take them off the field if they don't have to DH like they do when they play in an AL ballpark every once in a while. Like, they'll have to all those NL teams will have to rethink their rosters if that happened, which means someone like JD be like, great, let's just sign JD. Great, we have our DH, we're good, and move on.
I still find it so weird that the MLB is one league, but within that league there are two separate conferences that have different rules. I find that so strange. Guaranteed $25 million in playoff pools in 2020, $33 million in forgiven salary advances that would increase the take-home pay of 61% of major league players, overall earnings for players of 104% of prorated salary. Over the last 2 days, MLB agreed to remove the expanded postseason in 2021 in order to address players' concerns. So, by rejecting that MLB offer, the MLBPA did lose a few things, but they never wanted the expanded playoffs anyway, which I don't want expanded playoffs. I think baseball playoffs are perfect the way they are. I don't think there's any need to change them up. Like, they're some of the best postseason. Like, we're big baseball guys, but they're some of the best structured postseason formats in sports by far. I mean, it's perfect. But the problem with the owners this entire time, which this is my big problem for the players, because we've been on the player side, is that this is what the owners wanted all along. And they knew that. They knew this was going to happen. They know if they keep lowballing the players, they're going to keep rejecting until we come to this point where they're basically getting what they wanted.
Yeah, they're in full control.
They're in absolute
and it's
full
worse.
control.
And the owners screwed the pooch on this because them getting what they wanted and dragging it out like this, now instead of starting, earlier this month, being the first sport back that's in the States, because now MLS is going to beat them to the punch. They're not going to have any market to themselves. Imagine how much more people would have watched baseball this year than any other year because there was no other live sports on. Nothing to distract them. They couldn't go out and use the summer excuse to not watch baseball because there wasn't anything to do while we were all stuck at home. So instead of that, baseball's now set return date is end of July when NBA is going to be back. NHL playoffs are going to be about to be starting. NFL training camps are right around the corner. So they're now the fifth wheel, if you're an MLS fan, maybe the fifth wheel behind playoff hockey, NFL training camps, which always make a buzz, and basketball. They're screwed. And that's because the owners couldn't just suck it up and deal with it and get back on the field as soon as possible. And this proves even more the owners don't care. They only care about themselves. They're not thinking about moving the sport forward. This was their chance to really make a mark on those casual fans who were like, oh, I don't really watch baseball, but there was nothing else on. If you came on a fraction earlier.
They're not going to make a mark on anybody until they learn how to market their players. Like they've got players with some big attitude, and they don't market them at all.
No, and I'm concerned about the sport now, and this is from baseball guy, right? Like, we're both baseball guys. What if the NBA does keep their schedule and move it to December through August?
Which would be a smart idea. Would be a really smart idea on their part. And out of Christmas, Christmas and going through the summer is perfect.
They're talking about now for next year, they were shooting for a December 1st start date. So beginning of December, right after Thanksgiving, you get NBA basketball full swing. Great. I would be okay with that. That pushes you back, to a month and a half. So it goes from June, a month. It goes from middle of June ending your season to beginning of August. That's almost your entire baseball season. Now you'll have in April, you'll still have playoff hockey, which is a distractor in itself. And then you still have the NBA. And then come June, you're going to start playoffs. You're going to start basketball playoffs in June rather than ending in June, which means you don't get only baseball until August, and then preseason football starts.
It would be perfect. That's a perfect fucking schedule. Why aren't we doing it?
For everybody. For anybody. Think about you as a sports fan, right? In baseball, you only have one thing to watch.
If you're major sports, that's perfect.
You have a major sport going on at all costs, and you have a set of awesome basketball. Because then on a Thursday night, I might watch the Celtics, and when they're on, and not watch the Red Sox because the Red Sox are on every single night anyway. And now you have NBA basketball during the summer, which they can play in the summer. Who cares? And then it gives them the fall off, which all those players, NBA players, can get the fall off instead of the summer. Summer league happens during football season, which no one watches anyway. And now football's kind of by itself until hockey starts, and hockey's still niche enough that it doesn't really matter.
No, it would be.
It's a perfect major sports schedule if the NBA moves.
Yeah. It would be unbelievable. The NBA, and if the NBA wants a bigger fan base, the NBA has already got a strong fan base, but if the NBA wants a bigger fan base, they'll grow over the summer. Summertime feels like perfect basketball weather.
Oh yeah, and then you have got it's just it would make so much sense. You'll get ratings upon
I
ratings.
would love the Celtics playing right now.
So imagine
Celtics
middle of 4th of
first
July
round
weekend.
playoffs.
4th of July weekend. Think about it. You're watching the Celtics in the playoffs at the beach house, the lake house, wherever. You're watching the Celtics face off in the playoffs. 4th of July weekend by the pool, whatever. That's better than ending in June and then you got baseball for 3 months. Which again, I don't watch baseball every night, and I'm a baseball guy. It's a lot. I'd like some mix-up.
162 games is way too much.
It's a lot. And I'm an MLS guy too. Like I watch the Revs. I'm a soccer guy. It's still not enough for me because they're on like once a week, once every other week, depending on the schedule.
Now, so basketball ends in August, and then the football season happens, right? This year.
And now I'm watching football 4 times a week because it's oversaturated.
Football, yes, football. Listen, I don't know if it's even going to happen this year. Devin McCourty doesn't even know if it's going to happen this year.
Push it back. I want it to happen. I'm going to be on record now. Like, I think we've both said this. I don't care what it looks like. I want a season because I want to see Stidham play.
I'm very excited for Jared Stidham playing this year.
But that being said, would he benefit from this season not happening and then getting a full off season to get his first season in? Probably. But if he doesn't play between now and next year because of COVID, that also hurts his growth. So I want something of some sort. Maybe you push it back and shorten the season. Owners would hate that. I don't think the NFL would do it. You can't push it. I mean, you can push it into January, February, and move the Super Bowl back. But do you move the Super Bowl? There's a lot of moving parts with the NFL because the Super Bowl is such a big production that's their deadline. NFL would be smart to move their season back. Let the other guys figure it out. Let the second wave happen. What if the NFL goes January to April, right? And cut it a little short, do January to April, and then start your next season on time. I don't care. But the NFL needs to think about pushing the season back, and I don't know if it's going to happen at all. They'd be smart to think about at least pushing it back, though.
And they're not going to get a season in if they don't do like a hub city bubble format type thing.
No, they're still on the stand of like, no fans, but we'll do it in our own cities. How?
Yeah, there's no way that they're just going to have a regular season. And they're acting like that's what they're going to have. They're acting like they're just going to have a regular season played. That's just not going to happen. Even Devin McCourty on the McCourty Twins podcast, which I didn't even know existed, he said, figuring out football to me seems to be the hardest thing right now. We hope, but I don't know if we'll figure it out, honestly. Which, you look at the NBA is even having a tough time right now deciding if they're going to actually play now that there's Kyrie Irving and the Players Coalition saying, you know what, hold up, I don't know if we actually want to do this.
It sounds like they're pushing ahead, but like the NFL, it's so crazy to me because they're hell-bent on this. But you look at other sports even too, how many positive tests did the Phillies have? Like
right,
when they all reported.
There's a ton of positive tests happening.
The Lightning, right? The Lightning had a bunch when they all started getting back together. Look at the Bucks, dude. In your sport, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had staff, some players, they don't know who, test positive for coronavirus in your own sport, and you're not taking it seriously enough to think about having a plan B.
In part of the whole thing was, especially with sports, were these states that weren't even really taking it seriously because there weren't high numbers yet. Florida, Texas, Arizona. Well, guess what? Those numbers are all skyrocketing right now because they didn't take it seriously.
And how many NFL teams are in those 3 states? You have the Cardinals, Texans, Cowboys, and then you have 3 teams in Florida. That's 6 of your NFL teams in the hub states that are an issue for this. And you expect us to let other players travel? You want Jared Stidham and the team going down to Texas, down to the Dolphins to play in Miami? Are you kidding me?
And numbers have dropped dramatically up here because we took it fucking seriously because we're not stupid. Anyone
that's
unreal.
Against Governor Baker, because I know Baker got a lot of crap down in Mass for how slow he was handling things and letting.
We're doing great
against
now.
That, assholes, idiots. They don't get it because those guys should be down in Florida and just take your mask off, go to the beach, get COVID because you're idiots. He handled it perfectly.
And just watching all these numbers skyrocket and watching all these, specifically watching all these athletes in Major League Baseball, basketball, testing positive now, you got to look at the NFL, which that's a sport where there's no avoiding it. It's full contact. If somebody has it, they're probably passing it on, even with these Halo helmets that they're talking about using. Have you seen those things?
Yes. They're not going to wear it.
They look like Halo. They look like they're from the video game Halo. Even with those things on, I don't know if you're going to be able to get that in. How are you going to, if somebody has it, they're going to pass it on to a bunch of people on the field.
Yep,
if they somehow pass that test, which is possible, guys, you can test negative on the test and actually really have it. So if that's the case and some guy makes it on the field like that, he passes it on to 9 other guys. They're not just going to have a regular season like they plan on having, unless somehow in the next 2 months there's a vaccine or numbers drop dramatically, which I just don't see happening. These states right now, they're going through what we went through in March in Massachusetts. They're going through, because we got hit hard right away and we took care of it. It took us a few months to get to where we're at now. And Massachusetts had 147 new cases yesterday, which sounds like a decent amount, but that's great compared to where we were.
Yeah. Oh, it was awful.
It's not going to go away. It's not just going to disappear now in the next couple of months. So
COVID's not going away until there's a vaccine, and that's like at the earliest supposed to happen at the end of this year.
At the end of this year.
Earliest. That's December, people, not now. No. So until then, you can open up everything you want and take the precautions, which will happen. People are going to have COVID. We're living in a pandemic, people, for the rest of the year. Like 2020 is just a pandemic year. Deal with it. Unless they somehow come out of nowhere, have a vaccine.
2020 felt like a pandemic year from the start anyway.
2020 is a pandemic year between our emotions and Tom Brady and actual physical pandemic.
Dude, Kim Jong-un faked his own death. And we just brushed that over. That's not the craziest thing
no one talked about that. That should have been like #1 news this year. Oh my God, Kim Jong-un was supposedly dead and now he's not. No one gives a crap because we're in a pandemic.
His own death and we don't talk about it.
We're in a pandemic and a Black Lives Matter movement all at once. And that's what 2020 is going to be. I can't wait. Whatever kids are reading, whatever my kid does for a history book, if it's not going to be a book, that's what's going to be 2020. It's just going to be the timeline of pandemic.
It's going to have flashbacks.
It's going to be ridiculous. And then she's going to go, what happened? Can you tell me about that? Like, no, you were born that year. That's all that matters. No one talks about that year. That's it.
Yeah, like you were the only
bright spot in 2020, sweetheart. It's really okay. Don't worry about it. Your teacher's an idiot. They shouldn't talk about it. It was terrible year. Tom Brady left the Patriots, and then she's gonna look up at me and goes, "Dad, who's Tom Brady?" And I'm gonna teach her real quick.
You're gonna make her sit down and you're gonna watch whatever documentary they come out with next year. Hopefully,
we're gonna watch all the Super Bowls. So we're gonna sit down and watch all the wins. Just watch them all.
All right. We got anything else?
It's hot out. I'm sick of the heat.
It's hot as shit right now.
It's hot as balls. It's awful.
Oh, well, honestly, I feel like just because this year's flying by because things just keep happening every day, we're going to be in December before we know it. This year has been insane.
It's legit. Coming in a few weeks.
This year's flown by because it just hasn't stopped.
Yeah, before you know it, my kid will be right here making her first appearance on the Couch Guy Sports Podcast. It'd be great.
Yeah, she's not going to be speaking any English. Dude, you know how intense and stressful this year's been? I lifted up my hairline today, which, I got a great hairline. That's how I'm going with this. There's a vein coming out of my head that's just sitting.
Someone's stressed out.
I lifted my hair today, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And I showed my girlfriend. I was like, what is this? And she was like, I don't know. But it's like pronounced. It is there. So fuck 2020.
2020 is over. I'm done. But keep an eye on the YouTube channel. Good thing. Keep an eye on the
YouTube channel and subscribe to us, Couch Guys Sports Podcast, episode number 162 in the books. Guys, check out all the podcasts that we have on the network. The Legends Lingo podcast, Take It or Leave It. Verbally Committed. Couch Guy Hollywood is back, baby. They are back in Los Angeles and they are talking Hollywood shit. Again, Nick Quaglia, Jared Scali. Rate and subscribe on iTunes and YouTube. Follow us on Couch Guys Sports on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. The Couch Guys Sports Podcast. Couch Guy Podcast is also on Twitter. Nick Quaglia, Jared Scali. We will be back next week, guys. Maybe with some announcements. We'll talk to you then. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening.
Oh, wait, shit.